Okay. Good morning it is. You know, it's one thing to be unhappy with one situation when you find yourself in a position that you're unhappy with, and we got a guy sitting in a detention center who's also on trial, and while so, he does the absolute absurd things while he's in there. By making many, many threats toward the very person who has filed the charges on him. And as such, he goes on his YouTube channel, which again, obviously, is so against the grain of having the allowance of using his cell phone and committing the same crimes that got him the 5 charges originally. Now, of course, I've got the permanent recording of him inciting violence against me and offering to people and to suggest that somebody should offer a 50,000 peso reward, and actually admits that yes, I'm inciting violence. Absolutely amazing. Um, if any one of you were in that situation, if anything, you're not going to use your cell phone to repeat your crimes. But this guy continually makes threats to me on his YouTube channel. But right now, he's more worried about making or getting his money making opportunities through various things such as PayPal and Super Chat and so forth. Seems to be his main concern. Here he's in a situation where he probably doesn't have a lawyer that's even, which could be true or not, that wants to represent him. He's facing 5 charges of cyber libel, and it's admittance of guilt is to all 5 charges. It's not to one. Although he claims that I'm only pleading guilty to one charge. That's so absurd just to even say that. But that material was already sent over to the Department of Justice and to immigration. Now, one might ask the question directed to him and say, Sir, why do you think that that is helping you to continually put on YouTube videos when you are in a situation that you got yourself into? One who, a clear thinker, would say, no, it makes no sense at all. And it doesn't. It doesn't. Now, although you people absolutely enjoy the drama here, I'm really not into the drama. I'm just into presenting the facts and at least trying on my own level to give him a wake up call. Not that I'm trying to help him, please mind you that. That he's a chronic liar, and his defense and offense way of thinking certainly is not going to help this situation. That's why I always say, when I do a show on him, I would say, how in the world is this helping you out? What good is it going to do him to continually use his cell phone as a weapon, which is exactly what he's doing? It makes no sense at all, but then again, examine the source. And we've all pretty much come to the conclusion after all these years that the individual is not exactly capable of comprehending his situation as such. Now I just sit back here and I just, gladly record all this. And by him inciting others to do a crime against me because he's unhappy with a situation that he clearly has created for himself, is not going to put him in any position that's ever going to help him. Marriage is not going to help him. Getting married is not going to help him. It's not going to help him with his regional trial court situation in regards to 5 cyber libel charges against him. It is not going to help his position in any form or way. But yet he continues to do this, and although, I'm totally amazed at this, and a lot of people are also amazed at this and have basically told him just to shut down. Stop making videos that, if anything, he's incriminating himself, and he's not helping himself. So did I say also, what the hell's the point of getting married if you can't be a husband to your wife, where it's just all on paper? Oh, look, I got married. I showed Frank that I could do that. I don't care. I don't care if he gets married. Under the circumstances he's getting married for, just to basically prove a point. And Frank, I was able to get married in jail. Oh, that's romantic. But it's makes no sense at all. You marry somebody because you have a future together. Does that make sense? But getting married, it's not about him getting married, but I'm just mentioning this. It makes no sense at all. How could you be a husband to your wife if you're incarcerated and serving time in jail, and then after that have to be deported to the United States, never to be able to come back again? And the chances of getting his so-called wife, once married, to be able to come to the United States, other than being in a position of being a tourist, which is going to be hard for someone in her position to do this, married or not. So you're going to have a marriage where she has to just fly to the United States to be with you, and then what? Can't really be in a position to live or stay in the United States. So it would be, what would be the purpose of getting married? Raining Cats and Dogs, he thinks it will give him some kind of immunity. Well, it's not going to give him any immunity to that. I'm not even sure he's going to be able to get married. Even if he legally can, and even if he has it planned out, I'm not even sure at this point they're even going to allow it, because this information has been put out. And my attorney is actually making a special trip to Manila shortly, where he's going to be addressing a lot of these matters, including his girlfriend's complaint. All this is going to be brought up, and recordings are going to be brought up. I told you, I'm not fucking around here. This has gone on too long, too far, too much. He's not making it easier on himself, and he is forcing my hand to go further on this, rather than backing off in any way and give him any kind of leniency whatsoever. Do you guys blame me for doing what I have to do? Be honest about it. If anybody wants to make a comment on here, there's my 13 people again. His biggest concern is telling people that I'm now monetized. And if you send me money, he's never going to make enough money that's ever going to help his situation out. But his concern is not his future. His concern is not that he's on his cell phone and making threats and inciting other people. His concern is to make a couple of dollars on his YouTube channel. It makes no fucking sense at all. But then again, you know what we're dealing with here. Whatever did make sense with this guy? I'm not on here continually as a rule to talk about him. The reason I do is just to remind my viewers and to give a direct message to him that what he's doing is not helping his situation out. If anything, I'm just responding to make any mention of him at all. It's just responding to the absurdity of what he's doing on here. Raining. My question is, did he ever contribute to the Philippine society in general? I think not. No, he hasn't. Obviously not. He tries to maintain his innocence all the time. Like, I never did this and never did that. But I'm not going to bore you with that shit again. You know what he's done. You know what he's capable of doing. But one of the most absurd and most ridiculous things that he's done, I mean, it's not the first time I've ever been threatened on here by him. But now, he wants to incite other people because of his misery and the situation that he clearly has created for himself to try to get some people on the outside to cause harm, and even mentions like, oh, well, if his girlfriend happens to be in the line of fire of something here, oh, well, the man has no regard for anybody and wants to drag in innocent people who could potentially get hurt because he is unhappy with his situation, which, again, he created for himself. Nobody else did, when you really think about it. I've had it. I have personally had it with him. That's it. My attorney's trip to Manila is going to be a very productive one. Because this time he's going to Intramural, and this time he's going to not communicate with a Cebu office. He's going to go directly to the people. There's several reasons why he's actually going to Manila, which I'm not actually going to talk about. But while he's there, this will come up. This will come up. Along with some video recordings to present to Intramural. He says that he doesn't involve my girlfriend, but he does. Always making reference to her. Always. And trying to put her in the line of fire because he's unhappy with the situation he created. To have the gall to come on YouTube using this fucking cell phone, which he shouldn't even be possession of, in regards to how he's been using it as a fucking tool to voice out his aggression, and yet he's allowed to have possession of his cell phone, and we're going to try to stop that right in its tracks. Trying to incite others to suggest if somebody would offer a $50,000 reward and actually admits by his own words, no AI, no editing, nothing, that yes, listen, yes, I am inciting violence on you. That's what he said. Amazing. I've witnessed stupidity in my life, but I've never seen it at this level. I have never experienced it on this level. He's like a person who's on facing a firing squad. And instead of pleading, please don't shoot me, he's basically saying, please get your guns ready, aim and fire at me at will. That's what he's doing to himself. Raining cats and dogs, all the lies he told about speaking to United Nations and high up commission, he ain't speaking to anybody. His lips are moving, my friends. You know what happens when his lips move. Barry, I'm going to tell you a direct message here. You are the stupidest person I've ever encountered in my life. For a man who claims he wants to get on with his life, wants to marry his gorgeous girlfriend, and live a life. Well, the question I have to you, Barry, is how are you accomplishing that? Your famous words is, I wish somebody would tell me, I would really like to know. Well, I'll tell you what, I wish you would tell me, and I would really like to know. How are you accomplishing these tasks? By threatening me? By inciting others because you're unhappy with your life? Because you're unhappy with your situation, self-created? And you think this is going to help you? You seriously think this is going to help you? I don't know, dudes. I wasn't even going to comment on this at all. But I needed to further comment on this. There might even be some legality issues even in reference to him getting married, which is being checked into. That may never even happen. But like I said, and I'll repeat myself, I don't care if he gets married. That's not an issue with me. I think it's more of a involving moral turpitude, involving a lot of different things. I think of getting married, not because, oh, I'm so in love and we got to get married. If anybody wants to get married, what you do is you clear up your legal situations and you do it right. You don't do it in a jail cell. That's quite a memory. I got married in a detention center. That's quite romantic. Maybe to him it is, I don't know. Not to me. But, you know, if you're going to get married, logically and sensibly, it would be to get married under better circumstances. To finish your trial, serve your time, pay your dues, and when all that's cleared up, to give you a path, a better path, that if you really wanted to marry this woman, because you truly love her and not because you feel she's a tool to get you some kind of a stay in the Philippines regarding your immigration status and so forth. And you'd never be able to get a dirty nay either, even if you had the money to do it. Logics would say that if you really wanted to marry somebody, do it under better conditions. After everything blows over, time served, then you could talk about marriage. Do it under a clear path. Do it under more loving situations, not because, well, I think that if I marry her, this is going to help my situation out. You don't get married under those circumstances. You just don't. Why would you do that to her anyway? But then why would she do that with you? And look, I don't know. This is like the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. Some people marry chicks because maybe they got pregnant and they want to give the kid a name. I did that. I did that. It wasn't particularly out of love, I can tell you that. Because I decided to be somewhat moral about the situation. Well, I don't want my child, to not have a name. Oh, maybe it was a Catholic thing to do. But, you know, my child was not a love child. It was not a love child. Doesn't mean I didn't love her or don't love her. It's just it wasn't a love child. It was because my ex-wife decided not to take the pill anymore to get pregnant. And conveniently said, well, I forgot to take the pill, which was not the situation. But being the person I am, decided to marry her, to give my daughter a name, to know that she has a father, and she has a namesake as such, which I thought was the right thing to do. Now, under those circumstances, and let's do a comparative to what he's doing, he's not getting married because he's so damn in love with her. When you know damn well that she's just an acting tool for him. You don't get married under those situations. Why would you do that? Other than some little plan, thinking that this is going to solve all, that they're not going to deport me if I am legally married. Well, I think you might be wrong on that. It would be all for nothing. And then the poor girl is left in a position where she can't get divorced because there's no divorce in the Philippines. How's that going to help her? He hasn't had one plan that has ever come together so far. And all of mine so far are going pretty well. Okay, well, his plan to get his girlfriend to file a complaint on me, that was part of a planning that they did. Okay, they did plan something, didn't they? But that's not written in stone either. And my attorney will address that situation. Toot sweet. Oy vey. That's the word of the morning. Oy vey. I clearly think that his incarceration in that detention center has really brought him to a point where he has mentally deteriorated more so than usual. Because nobody in their right mind, because you wouldn't be in your right mind if you did the things he did. I could clearly say that, and not as an insult, but as a fact, that he's not in his right mind. He's not in any position to dictate to me anything. None. He don't even have a lawyer that wants to be cooperative with him. Getting married under the circumstances, so highly unfair to her. But if she's going along with this, she's just as guilty as he is. It's just a plan. I don't, who care who gets married. But if you're going to get married, do it under favorable circumstances. That's just my opinion. I can apply this to myself, Do it under favorable circumstances. If marriage is the thing that you want, and any hindrances that might be in the way, you get rid of these hindrances to allow yourself to achieve marriage to somebody that you love. Get rid of the hindrances, obviously. But don't get married under a situation of such, just because you think that legally it's going to help you. And to have his chick actually go along with that is even more absurd. It's not that I have sympathy for Shaw. This make-believe, it's not Shaw, it's just any Filipina in general. I'm basically talking in general about this. No, I'm not happy with her at all, but obviously for obvious reasons. But I'm just talking in general in a sense that, you know, could be her, any other Filipina, don't marry, could be any other situation with somebody. The point is you get married under favorable circumstances and you don't marry somebody because you think it's going to help your legal situation. That's not a good introduction to a relationship where you're actually going to get married. And then you have more problems because there's no divorce. You can't divorce. It really puts a problem on her down the line. So if things don't work out with the couple, the happy couple, you know, then she's forced with the fact that, well, I can't get divorced from this guy. No, I don't have sympathy for her. No, I don't. Please, let's correct this. I don't have sympathy for her at all. I'm just talking in general as a Filipina who would do something like this, and what the ramifications are later on. That's a pretty big step to marry a man in this country, knowing there's no divorce, just to help him out in his legal situation. It's not like, you know, hey, I'll do you a little favor, man. You know, if you do me a favor. Not getting married. You know, well, hey, I'll give you a couple of bucks to help you out or something. Say to your friend. But you're not marrying your friend. Hey, man, give me a couple of bucks to help me out. I'll pay you back later, you know. Oh, okay, cool, man. But to enter marriage as a favor or as a tool? No, I don't have sympathy. Oh, please get this abundantly clear. I don't have sympathy for her. Absolutely none. I'm only saying, if she's a clear thinking Filipina with good intent to go along with a caper like this just to appease her boyfriend, something wrong with that picture too. Although, you know, off the record, I'd love to say something about that, but I can't because it would be off the record. I got to think in legal terms of what I say on here. So I got to watch everything I say on here. I hope you understand that. There's a lot I could say about that and answer your question or say it more clearly, but I won't because I can't. Clearly, I can't. But Danny Gissy did the show last night. Onward and onward and onward. He wants to try to get a reaction from me that he could possibly use for evidence against me, but he hasn't. If anything, he has very clearly has done the opposite, where he is putting out material on his YouTube channel that only works against him. Well, I'm just enjoying my cup of tea, this one with peppermint and green tea. He doesn't realize that I have the capability of using all my resources. And then the other stupid thing he keeps on talking about. You ain't receiving no money from anybody? What the fuck? Oh, I called the U.S. Marines. I called everybody because somebody was giving you $3,000. I'm going to intercept this $3,000 a deceased friend left you. I'm going to contact the people that you owe money to in a civil lawsuit. I'm going to contact the Boy Scouts of America, the United Nations. Dude, listen up. I received my money. And my friend who left me that money did not live in Hawaii. He lived in New York State. And this has nothing to do with my Hawaii bank account, Junior Mint. This money was transferred into my Philippines bank account, Nimrod. Do you hear him going off on that? Oh, he ain't getting his money. I'm going to make sure he doesn't get his money. Boy, talk about a green-eyed monster. You don't wish well on me, but I have to tell you, dude, I don't wish well on you either. I'm not in any position to want to wish you anything great. You seek your own rewards, good or bad, whatever they are. You do that all on your own. He's upset because somebody was giving me money. I guess he's going to be more upset to hear something else. I think I might have mentioned it. Let's just say we did some investing and, capitalize on something. And our investment is paying off and we're getting a lump sum of 2 million pesos. I guess that's going to send him into a frenzy to know that. Yeah, true. So now he's got to have a heart attack over that I got $3,000 from a deceased friend from childhood. And then I'm getting 2 million pesos from an investment. Country Road. He kept repeating it over and over too. His whole show was about that, about me getting... It's already in my bank account, dude. No, I don't have to show receipts to anyone. There's some troll that came on the show the other day. Show us the receipts. I don't have to show you my mother's dead ass. I don't have to show you shit. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. What a Nimrod. I don't know, that name Nimrod seems to fit. Pardon me for a second while I do some ant control here. Yeah, I got bit again overnight. Oh boy. My sink is covered with ants because everybody has the habit of leaving a couple of dirty dishes with food substance on it overnight. And that's like ringing a dinner bell to ants, wouldn't you think? Yeah. That's as sensible as him coming on YouTube in his detention center cell and inciting others to do violence against me. Well, no, it's not a lottery. It was a private investment, which was basically my funding, but going through my partner. That's all I could talk about that. That's all that is. It's not a lot of money. 2 million pesos. Well, it's not, I guess in Philippines terms, I guess 2 million would be a lot, but it's not that, no money was invested and nothing was put out, but we already got back, or shall I say she did, the initial investment, and the 2 million is actually the profit. In other words, the original investment money was already achieved. Let's just put it that way without saying a whole lot. That was already achieved. Let's just say we had invested in somebody's business and retail business. And it paid off. About all I could say on that. Okay, let me see. I have to do something here real quick. Okay, well, I'll attend to this later. Oh, he's just upset that I have the capital to continue on any legal matters without blinking my eye. All it really is. No, that's pesos, not dollars now. Keep that in mind. If it was $2 million, I'd be jumping up and down. No, no. I only wish. I'd be one happy camper, I'll tell you that. Very happy camper. Oh, dear. Oh, I know what I'm going to have for breakfast eventually here. I think I know. Well, he's upset because things are not exactly working his way, but then who caused the problems? Not me. He devoted a whole show the other day just because someone was kind enough to think about me in their will and left me. You know, we're not talking about a tremendous amount of money. We're talking about $3,000, which, you know, still, to me, was generous. He didn't have to leave me a dollar. But since we were childhood friends since 5 years old, and I'll tell you what, if he didn't have to go through all his money, because everything he paid for his medical was coming out of his pocket from inheritance from his father. That's probably all he had left to actually want to give me. Because if he did, it would have been a lot more money he had to go through to pay on his own. The only subsidies this guy's ever got was living in a retirement apartment complex where he was subsidized to a certain point, but everything he had in the bank had to go. That's why he couldn't get other government help like Social Security, disability, or anything, because he never worked a day in his life. And I think 3,000 is very generous from him. To get anything from him at all, I think is very generous. It's not a lot of money. But that was awfully kind of him to think about me, to give me anything. Maximus. 2 million pesos is still good money. It's not much for a baller like Frank, who has way more. Look, I'm not a rich man. Not at all. I get by. I'm not even rich by Philippine standards, nevertheless U.S. standards. But we get by with little help from our friends. Yeah, we get by with little help from our friends. No, we get by because you have options out here, not necessarily as a foreigner, but my partner certainly does. I could bankroll anything that you want to get into. I can't conduct business myself, unfortunately, but I could bankroll something. That's perfectly legal. Perfectly legal. She's a businesswoman here. Oh, big shit. Peso millionaire. It's not the same as being a U.S. millionaire. Quite a big difference, my friend. Quite a big difference. I wish it was a genuine U.S. dollar. billionaire, millionaire, whatever. Nah. But it does help to have something. Especially when you're involved with certain legal matters, sure it helps. Don't hurt, I could tell you that. Just like it didn't hurt when, well, it always hurts when you have to put out money on something you don't expect. When I had my kidney stone and shit and didn't have any insurance. And if I didn't have any insurance, I'd be in pretty bad shape. I may not even be alive because it wasn't just a kidney stone infection. It wasn't just a kidney stone. It was a combination infection as a result of the kidney stone. And I could have had sepsis just like Fazio did. I'd be dead right now if I was not able to do it. That's why I always tell people, have something. I don't care what it is. Have something in your bank account in case something like this comes up, because you don't have any options out here. You really don't. There aren't any. Unless somebody wants to give you money to help you out, but because hospital, they're not going to do anything for you unless you could prove that you could pay them money. As I said, it's unlike American hospitals, man. You can go to the emergency room and they're going to take care of you. They'll bill you and whatnot, and they're going to ask if you got any insurance at all, whatever. If you don't, they have to take you in, is my understanding. Maybe unless it's like a private hospital. I don't know how that works. If it's like a private hospital, I don't know. But I think by law, and I could be mistaken, but I think by law they can't refuse. They can't refuse you. That you work out the financial details later. But they, in any general, I think any American hospital, you enter an emergency room, they have to take care of you. They have to treat you. And you work out the details later. Of course, they're going to ask you, do you got money? Do you have any insurance? Do you got Medicare? Medicaid? What do you have, sir? But they still have to take care of you. But this is not America. This is the Philippines. And they adhere to their policies here. You're not going to get help. You'll get some triage. But beyond the triage, no. You're not going to be in any position. You'll die. Let's just say it. You'll die. I've heard of situations where, well, they did change it a bit out here. My understanding, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is that even here in the Philippines, they will now accept you into the ER. I think they have to, but I think there's a limitation of what they can do for you. If anything, they have to give you triage, but I think beyond that, there was a point they wouldn't take you in at all. But they are required to give you triage. I know that sounds really crappy, but I don't make up the rules and laws in this country, so I'm in no position to do that ever. Nor do I want to get involved with fighting politics in this country. I'm not the lawmaker here. That's why I always say, have something. I don't care what it is. Have something in the bank. Just try to take, I don't know, you're on a pension. Well, let's say your pension is, I don't know, let's say it's $2,500 a month. How about if you just take 500 of that and make believe you're only getting 2,000 a month? So take 500 of that and put it in the bank. That'll add up. Good example, yeah. 2,500 a month you're making, and just make believe 2,500 don't exist. Just you're getting 2,000 as far as set your mind that you're only getting 2,000, and you automatically put 500 in the bank. Use your 2,000 for your living expenses and whatever you have to do, but put something in the bank. And just make a habit of doing that, and you should be okay. But there's a lot of people that are not in that position to even put that kind of money in the bank. We've always managed to put something in the bank. Maybe more 1 month, less another month. But the idea is to put, not take out. Unless you really have to, but that's what your money's all about in the bank. In case you need a bailout package to leave the country, or you need a medical emergency, or whatever comes up, a legal matter, whatever it might be. Then you feel a little more comfortable because you did some good planning. Travel, learn, request. Oh, what's that? Travel, learn, repeat. Unfortunately, big man in the Philippines got sick, and he had a hard time paying his bills for the hospital. As an expat, you have to be prepared. Yeah, well, I would say so. That's the whole point I'm making here. You got to be prepared for shit like this, and I think many people are really not. I think a lot of people that move out here on a song, they're living on a song and a prayer. But you can't live on a song and a prayer in a third world country, or any country where you don't have any insurance. I was ready to go, actually, with Pacific, Pacific Cross? I was approved for it, but they weren't covering certain things I thought were necessary. And they certainly weren't covering under that plan anything that was outside the hospital, and a lot of other things too. And I'm still, I'm approved for it. It's just a matter of saying yes and paying them. So I'm not totally sold on what they're offering. But the one thing I'm going to give you advice on something on this. Actually, it is a good idea to it's not actually cost effective to get the outpatient covered on your insurance. Because the outpatient stuff, pretty much you should be able to cover that on your own. But if you put it under a policy where you're getting outpatient, which you may never need, stick to if you're going to go through that policy, stick to a basic, save your money, stick to a basic hospital plan where they will treat you for operations and different things. Certain things may not be covered. That's kind of a problem with this company. There's certain things. It's not as good as you think it is. That's why I've been still scratching my head on whether to say yay or nay on this, or no on this, because they'll consider something to be a pre-existing condition. They'll use age as a factor to charge you more money to get this policy. And, you may never need to be in a hospital again. You may never need outpatient coverage, but chances are you will. We're talking about outpatient being outside of being actually in a hospital for a hospital stay, being admitted to a hospital. Then they could administer, under this health program, they could administer all the drugs, everything that's involved while you're in the hospital. But anything outside of the hospital, you're on your own. But yeah, you could pay to have outpatient services, but it's not cost effective. And I've heard people talk about this before. It's just not cost effective. It's not. It's advised even by a person who is a representative of that country that people are familiar with, who has actually told me that it's better off to pay out of pocket for these services rather than put that in your policy for outpatient. No. I should at least have that, But even if I applied for it today, it takes a year to go into effect. My girlfriend has it, though. She has it. It helps a little bit. There's one time she had a little cyst in her ear because we decided to go snorkeling in open water. And just from that alone, because, like I said, the waters may look beautiful out here, and they do, very pretty, the color, but they're not exactly, I can't think of a word, just call it hygienic or whatever, I don't know. They're polluted, I'm trying to say. And just for that one incident of a short time of snorkeling, she developed a small cyst in her ear and had to have a minor operation for that. And yeah, it did cut down the bill by what, 10, 20%? I forgot what it is. Better to kick in the ass, yeah. But I'm still considering getting that at least anyway. I guess the next time I'm at an office or something, I'll apply for that or something. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to get the other insurance. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still weighing out the benefits to not. But, I mean, sure, if I had to have another operation, yeah, it'd be worthwhile. I mean, sure. But I'm trying to see if there's any other better policies out there with a different company. It's a wait and see type of situation. And you don't want to wait too long because nobody knows what they have in store for them from day to day. None of us know. But I guess I'll deal with that. But as I said, just having something in the bank, it doesn't have to be as much as you think it is. But anything that you could have in there that's going to help out a medical situation. Just self-insure or head back to the U.S. if you need. Well, yeah, you could do that too. I mean, if you're already on Medicare, you can go to Guam. Guam has a couple of good hospitals out there, I understand. I don't know about having, like, if you have to have heart surgery. I don't know if Guam would be good enough. I don't know. I mean, people do have heart surgery in Guam. I'm sure they do. I'm sure people who have heart conditions and they have hospitals that are, have the capability and have supposedly capable surgeons of doing that. But, it is American territory, so you might figure that, maybe there's some good doctors on there. I don't know. I've heard good and bad, but I don't know what to believe. Yes, I certainly did. I wasn't stupid enough to get rid of that just to make more money. I absolutely do got Part B. You bet I do. No, what, to save $160, $170 a month? Like you said, there's a time you might need that. No, still got it. Ain't going anywhere. I was smart enough to keep it. Oh, I thought about it in the past, but then I said no. Because once you get rid of that, you ain't going to get it back again. And once you tell them that you want to do away with Part B, you're not going to be able to, as I understand, get it again. I think I'm pretty correct on that. Just got to play it safe, man, Got to play it safe. It's scary living in a developing country. It really is. There's so many things you got to be aware of out here. I mean, and sure, Filipinos are friendly people, but they're also human too. You don't know what's going to happen. You get ripped off. You just don't know. Someone gets desperate enough. Just don't hang around parties when everybody's getting drunk off their ass. Don't hang around in bars. If you could eliminate some of those things, then that's another measure of safety for you. Because people don't exactly act normal when they're drinking. Some people can't hold their liquor. And some people get very violent while intoxicated. Who knows, they might be taking drugs too. You don't know. Oh, you can get it back, but you have to pay all the back pay. Oh, okay, yeah, that wouldn't be worth it. Yeah, just keep it. Just keep it. Just keep it. Part B, well, Part B is the one that's allowing you to, I think it allows prescriptions, doesn't it too? Yeah. It's allowing you to get operations. It's allowing you to see specialists. It's allowing you to see doctors. I mean, it's your main one. It's Part B. If somebody wants to explain it a little more better than I can, please go ahead. Part B is it's really a major part of your coverage. Hospitalization, different things like that. And you could elaborate on that, anybody, if you want. It'd be better than I can, but it is basically something you want to keep. It is probably for hospitalization and even possibly, I think it was prescriptions and outpatient and I don't know. But you could elaborate on it if you want, though, to clear up that question. All I'm saying is that you need Part B. It would be wise to keep Part B, to sum it up. And people just get greedy and say, well, I could use the extra $160, $170 a month that they're taking out. But then something happens and you're not covered for that. You're going to wish you were paying under Part B. Oh, yeah. I'm keeping it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you can go back to America and get operations and different shit like that. I mean, as long as like an emergent thing, like you're going to die in 5 minutes if you don't get to a local hospital somewhere to treat you. I mean, no, if you're ambulatory, you can travel, to get something done, then yeah, you go back to the United States, wherever you want to go, and you have that Medicare coverage. It's a shame that they're not allowing this in the Philippines, and there's been talk about it, but I don't really ever see that happening. At least not in my lifetime. I don't think in my lifetime it's going to happen, but I'm not saying it will never happen. If you're young enough, I don't know, maybe you'll see that in the future, but according to what presidential policies that stand, and they even want to address that, which I don't think that's ever going to be addressed, not in the Trump administration especially. Speaking of Trump, boy, he's putting his nose in everything. I don't want to get into that. I didn't vote for the guy, and I wouldn't have anyway. There's going to be a war along the watchtower. Along the watchtower. Sooner or later. Now, as a result of Trump playing his trumpet, other nations are now gearing up to get even more artillery, more warfare weapons in preparation for what could be a war. Now their military strength is going to be built up even more with more nuclear missiles, more ground-to-air equipment in preparation for Trump's policies. Now their military force is going to be even stronger than ever, in fear that there ever will be a war. But, oh well. Do they look at my 401k? What 401k? I don't have a 401k. Maximus, Frank, they said the pilot of the, oh yeah, I was just reading that this morning. The pilot of the helicopter that crashed into the passenger airlines was a woman. Well, the pilot of the plane or the helicopter, which was a Black Hawk. I just think there was a lot of miscommunication going on at the time. It's a very busy airport, by the way. Oh, women are capable pilots. Unless she's on a rag or something, and I don't know, but Women are very capable pilots. They got women that are flying the most advanced jets in the world right now. Women are capable of doing men's jobs. Yes, they are. A lot of men's jobs. They may not have the physical capacity to lift hard weights or have that body structure, which makes a man, generally stronger than a woman, unless you're somebody else. No names mentioned, but women are capable of doing anything a man could, pretty much. Well, well, I'm not thinking it has anything to do with that. She was a female, and that caused a problem. I don't think so. Well, I'm actually a good driver, although I've had a few accidents, but all in all, for how many years I was driving, I'm a very good defensive driver. It's always the other guy. Remember, it's always the other guy that caused the problem, right? Isn't that the way it is? It's always the other guy. In most cases, it was the other guy of any accidents I've ever got into. And I'm lucky I'm alive because I've had a few doozies that, well, they could have turned into a doozy. It was a matter of a split second that our lives were spared. I talked about that a few times on my past shows. I had a few, shall we call it, close encounters. You think she panicked when she saw the plane? Well, I'm sure she was in panic when she saw the plane approaching, but I would panic too. But I think there was miscommunication with the tower, and he was handling some other shit going on. And as you said, we need more people to work in those jobs because there are more plane flights going on. This happens to be a very busy airport too. It doesn't take anybody from the streets to be a traffic controller, because you have to have patience and you have to be alert at every moment, or you're responsible for people's lives. It's a job I would never want, no matter what the money would be. I would never want a job like that. Well, I'm sure she panicked at one point. How many people were in the helicopter? It wasn't just her. She had to have a co-pilot or something in there, or a flight engineer or something. How many people were in the helicopter? And that collision destroyed the whole plane, huh? Everyone dead. How many people were on the plane? I mean, I've been listening to this. I've been reading this, but I didn't get all the details. That is tragic. I mean, I don't trust planes, period, but if you have to take them, you have to take them. If something's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's your destiny, if you believe in destiny and all that. But, if you really consider how many plane crashes there are compared to motorcycle and car and trucks and everything on the ground transportation, it's almost non-existent in comparison. It's a lot safer to take a plane than to drive a car. That's for sure. God, just imagine even the road rage too. Boy, have I experienced that in my life. And I even got involved in a little bit of that too. I mean, you get sucked into stuff. Yeah, you get sucked into stuff, people. Yeah, you get sucked into it sometimes. People cut you off. It could almost cause a bad accident. You might have your child in the car. You might have whatever. You might have your neighbor's child in the car. That happened to me once. Lucky the girl only got a sprained hand. I went over a friend's house and we were going to go to a park. I don't know what we were doing, but taking my daughter and my friend's kid over somewhere, and at an intersection, this gal just went flying through, and she hit the side of the vehicle, my vehicle, and she hurt her wrist, and thank goodness that all it was. It wasn't really a terrible T-bone type of situation, but it was enough to have the child hurt her hand. And I felt really bad about that, but it wasn't my fault on this. And the father, a friend of mine, well, a guy I worked with actually, he understood what happened. He was just happy his kid was all right, and it's just a sprained hand or whatever, and he was, of course, happy about that. And he wound up collecting a few thousand on that anyway, so on top of everything else, his daughter wasn't badly hurt, and he made a couple of bucks. So. But it's not about the money. It's about the fact that his kid was okay and had a minor injury. The money doesn't help everything. You'd rather not have an injury rather than getting any money. Okay, let's see. When I first saw the initial video footage, I thought that the helicopter purposely crashed in the plane, as there did not appear to be any evasive moves by the helicopter. Yeah, I don't understand that. And I initially thought that maybe the helicopter pilot was a member of the Religion of Peace and was recently activated a sleeper cell on our enemies. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Come on. You're going to believe that. Oh, accidents do happen. That's why you don't plan an accident. An accident happens, but there's always a reason why it happens, whether it's the operator of the vehicle, whether it be a car, a plane, or a helicopter, not paying attention, or being distracted, or it could be the air traffic controller who was overwhelmed with a very heavy amount of traffic on the ground, and can't answer those questions. I'm sure they're doing a major investigation on this. But how many people were reported to be on the airplane? And again, how many people were in the helicopter? I don't have that details on that. But yes, I was just kind of reading this morning. I was aware of what happened, but I see more coverage on this. I decided to read on it, but I didn't get all the details of it. God, I hate those kind of accidents. How it's like to be in a car accident where your body is part of the metal of the car and they got to extract you with the jaws of life. Oy vey. That's some pretty heavy duty shit. I'd say. So I don't drive out here. I could have bought a car at one time, and I gave it some serious thought. But knowing how prevalent crashes are in this country, I decided that, I hardly even drive that electric bike, to tell you the truth. The kids do, they love it. They transport us around. But there's like kind of part of me that doesn't want the responsibility of getting into an accident and something happens to them. And I've done so far at my age of keeping alive, and I'd like to stay alive. And getting behind a wheel of anything in this country it's quite iffy. It's something that I really don't choose to do by choice. Because there is just much too much accidents. I know life is a chance and all that stuff, and you got to take chances, but why push it? Considering my age and all that, I've been doing well so far of staying alive. Why add another element in there? It's just something I choose not to do, and my choice. Although I have to ride in vehicles, and anything could happen with that too, but, I'm just not going to push the envelope. That's what it really comes down to. That's why I choose not to drive or have a vehicle. I just don't want that. I just don't want that responsibility. That's the best I can tell you. I don't want that responsibility. But I drove and something happened with the kids, my girlfriend may never forgive me. I do got good driving skills, but it still, it doesn't matter how good your driving skills is. So's the other guy. I mean, look, I witness this stuff all the time here. People are not paying attention to anything they do. I've seen this firsthand. Mothers and children are crossing the streets as if they own the road. Little kids in hand, they don't even look. They think the traffic is going to stop for them, or they just don't even bother to look and see if there's traffic to make it even worse, okay? I witness this all the time. I make comments too when I'm on the road, I'm in a trike, and God, you see what that guy just did? Or this family, I mean, it's just the same as like you see families out here. They got their whole dang family on a motorspike. The whole dang family. And I'm like, what the fuck? That is seriously taking a chance. You get into an accident, you got your whole family lost. That did happen. One of the children died. It was about last year, right on the so-called highway here, And that did happen. It actually did happen. And they lost a young child because they were piled on there with their whole family. The whole family. And this is a common sight that you see on the roads here all the time. It's a very common sight. Every time I see that, I'll make a comment to Gilda, say, God, I can't believe this. I don't know if it's a state of mind. I don't know what the fuck it is. Would make people do this. But they figure, well, that's our transportation. That's how we get our family around. And I guess we're just going to take a chance and do this. Frank, a friend just posted a recent price for a dozen extra large eggs. $10.89 for the dozen. That's just nuts. I know. Eggs. Imagine that. Eggs. We buy eggs all the time. In fact, I'm making something right now. I'm actually mixing in some scrambled eggs with, I had some leftover roasted potatoes from our meal last night. Is what I'm actually doing right now. Yeah, I eat eggs. Oh, okay. Pardon me. God, I hate these pans. Everything sticks to it. You lose half the egg on the damn frying pan. Seriously. All right. There we go. Probably about 20% of the egg is on the frying pan here. They start off as stick-free, but you don't want the Teflon type. Don't buy those. But, you don't listen to me anyway, so it don't matter what I advise you. So, I'll just do what I need to do. All right, this is my breakfast. I see more potatoes in here than I see eggs, because half the egg is stuck on a pan. Oh, man. I used to own, can't believe I ever got rid of it. I didn't own it out here, but I did own it while I was in Hawaii. Those cast iron, they last forever. But you have to season them. I think when you first buy one of these things, you have to turn up the heat on this thing really high. And that's how you start it off with this thing, to kind of season it. I don't know what you call it, the process, but basically, cast iron one, it'll last you ever if you take care of it, but after you use it, I believe you have to put some oil on it so it doesn't rust. Yeah, the cast iron ones are good. That is something you could use forever, but you have to take care of it. There's a certain maintenance you have to do with that. Once seasoned well, it won't stick. Well, I got the resources to eat well to start off with, but not all the resources, meaning locally on the availability of certain foods that I can't get locally. I do my best. I do eat quite a bit of potatoes, though. But if we can get back to the original topic matter here, Barry, it's really none of your business where I get my money. I can't believe you devoted a whole show talking about a lousy $3,000 that I received. That has to go back to the people that you owe money to on the civil lawsuit in Hawaii. Really? Well, what the goober doesn't understand, although it was mentioned, they still don't get it. That money was not sent to my Hawaiian bank account. I have a local bank account here in the Philippines. And the electronic transfer of funds was made to our bank account here in the Philippines, goober. And you wasted a whole show talking about that. Well, I'm way better mentally in every other fucking way. But it's really none of his concern where I get money, how much I got or don't have, or what I do with it. It's called planning. Pardon me for eating on here, but I don't care. I'm hungry. But getting back to the original topic before I go, it is not a great idea to incite violence on somebody when you're in no position to do so. And knowing the possible consequences of such. I don't know what more I could say about that except it's insanity. It's total fucking insanity. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to get all this shit over with. I'm not trying to procrastinate anything. And I know I'm not trying to purposely keep him incarcerated. He's doing that to himself. I'm not. The fact that he's in there for over 21 months. It has to do with the fact that there's a legal criminal case against him in progress. That's why he's still in there. Now, if he didn't commit those crimes, get those charges against him, he could have executed the summary deportation and he'd be home. I did not. No. The present charges he has against him, for the cyber libel. Well, yeah, there could be another charge. I mean, as I said, there's another case involving, his death threats and everything to me, which is already written up. It's not been submitted to the fiscal yet. And we're waiting to see, basically, I'll be honest with you, we're waiting to see what happens with his girlfriend's complaint. So if his girlfriend's complaint comes to fruition and that we have to wind up fighting that too, then we have no choice but to, I have a choice, but by my choice, to handle that situation and put the second case on him. Because like I said, I'm not here to make it easy on his life in regards to everything that's transpired. It's an eye for an eye type of situation, only legally. Hey, you got the light? Okay, you got the light. Okay. Yeah, those pans, the egg sticks to it like crazy. Okay. Fire with fire. Fire with fire. You got that right. And my furnace is burning very hot. Oh, it sure is. Might be snow on the roof, but there's fire in the furnace. How's that? So, the clueless man has to really sit down and make an assessment of his situation. You'd think he would by now, right? I don't know. I just don't see how he's helping himself. Just making it worse. And hey, no sweat off my nuts for making it worse, doing it on his own. Nobody could ever argue with me on that one and say you're doing bad when he's doing it to himself. Oh, trolls are going to say anything they want on here. Oh, you shouldn't have charges on him. And the same rhetoric you're hearing all the time coming from the brainchild's mouth. You think I'm going to go to prison because I called you a bad word? Yes. It's not just a bad word. The implications of what he called me is very, very bad. If he can't wake up and understand that, then he's in a coma. He's in his own mental coma. There's not a troll out there that's going to disagree with me. They're not going to say it. But they know damn well, if they were in my position, they wouldn't let it pass because it wasn't an isolated... Here's a big difference. It was not an isolated incident. Okay? That's the key words. It is not an isolated incident. That is why I decided to take him to court, because he never stopped. And yes, you could destroy somebody's reputation. You could put somebody in danger. And he thinks that words don't hurt. It's according to what you say. And what freedoms he thought that he'd have in America does not necessarily apply to this country. As he said in his own show recently, of his own mouth, that he understands that, the laws are different from here in America. Oh, at least he admits that. He admits what he called me many times. There's no question about what he called me. And he admits to it. Well, he had no choice because the evidence was presented in court. What's he going to do? Deny it now? He can't deny it. And saying it publicly right on here on social media. Admitting what he called me. There you go. It's all she wrote. He expects a miracle to come out of all this? I don't think so. I really don't. Does he expect some divine intervention? I don't think so. Whether you believe in that stuff or not, I don't think so. And having a lawyer that's not very supportive of him, that I'm sure does not help the situation either. But, of course, he's blaming everything on his lawyer. I hope his lawyer listens to his shows, because if he's still representing him, he won't anymore. He knocked his lawyer left and right. If I was his lawyer and I heard that shit, and I was still representing him, I'd say, screw you, pal. You don't appreciate my services, you don't want to listen to what I tell you. But his side of this is that The goober side is that I tell the lawyer what to do. Well, the lawyer's trained, and the whole idea of hiring a lawyer is to help your situation, your case. But he doesn't want to appreciate that. I'm sure the guy gave him some good advice. He didn't even want him to plead guilty, but he didn't want to listen to the lawyer. That's where his lawyer really got disgusted, and he said, and I heard him. Well, my attorney translated for me. I think he wasn't speaking English at the time. No, I think he was, actually, if I remember. He basically said that his client was not compliant to his advice. Something to that nature. Yeah. Let's see. Let me catch up on the comments here. He should have just pleaded guilty to fast track the case. Well, he did plead guilty in court, but he didn't listen to his lawyer's advice. His lawyer is going to try to take a different route on this and just plea bargain. But the plea bargaining is over. His lawyer hasn't even filed a motion for a plea bargaining. Zero. Crickets. Crickets. I think his lawyer just plumb gave up on him. Master of Puppets. He claimed last night that you was bribing his... Yeah, I heard that. Bribing his lawyer. Let me tell you something. I don't know what you can do with immigration. You'd have to ask him. Don't forget, he was going to bribe authorities. Remember with CW's $50,000 in the past, his contribution, and I got Barry on camera actually saying that. Oh, thank you so much, CW. That $50,000 is going to help me bribe a prosecutor to end this case. That's how stupid he is. Just as stupid as he comes out and he's inciting violence on me and admitting in his own words, no AI, no editing, nothing. I think I still got it up there. That yes, he says. He goes, yes, I am inciting violence against Frank. Who the fuck does that? Only he is capable of doing that. The lawyer needs to file his own case. That sounds like slander. He's slandering his own lawyer. Who hasn't he slandered? He continues to make shows. What an odd man he is. Do you realize his only concern right now is not getting him out of that situation, but to try to get people to send him donations? Seriously? He's more interested in his status. He wants to build up his subscriber base. The guy could be facing a conviction in prison, and all he wants to do is up his subscriber base. Is that insanity, or is it not? That's his concern? Is he worried about the algorithms too? That's insanity. That's complete insanity. But I think you guys have figured it out on your own. I'm just suggesting it's insanity. That's what I'm suggesting. Because who would do that? Only he would be capable of doing something like that. Instead of trying to help himself along, he wants to get married, the whole ball of wax, the whole 9 yards. He's a hinder to himself. He's hindering his own freedom. Why? I don't know. Maybe he likes the accommodations. He gets to see his chick every week, whatever. Okay. She brings stuff over for him. They possibly have conjugal visits. I think they've always had conjugal visits, really. It's the best living situation he's ever had. The only difference is he can't go out to the bars. He can't travel around. Maybe it's a sacrifice that he's willing to make to live free. And of course, we all know, we've figured out by this point that he's been getting his Social Security the whole time. Because otherwise, be honest, where would he get the money every day to buy his Grab food and all that in Panda Express? I don't think his girlfriend is capable of providing him with daily sustenance like that. So obviously, folks, if he's not getting many or any donations, he's getting his money somewhere. He's getting it from his Social Security, which he's been getting the whole time instead of a sob story he's always feeding people how many years now. I don't have access to my funds, and I got a lot of money waiting for me in Alabama when I go home. Oh, God, the lies just get so old on here that you want to scream sometimes. You know, you want to reach your arms through the fucking internet, give him a couple of slaps around, wake him up or something. I don't know. Do you think there is conjugal visits even if they are not married? That's a good question. That's a good. They may not. I don't know. Because he says, so, well, now that I get married, I can have the conjugal visit, man. Woo, pussy, pussy. Wet taco, wet taco. Well, boy, that's respect for his girlfriend, right? Oh, that's a lot of respect. She's a wet taco to him. She's just a pussy to him. That's a sad thing. That's a sad thing to say about his wife to be. That's very sad. And it's very insulting to her. Does she realize all this? Does she accept all this? I don't know what's going on in her mind. She certainly agreed with him to go put a complaint against me, knowing that it could have possible ramifications on her part. He has a lot of control on her, apparently. He's let them know that, hey, I'm in the driver's seat. At least with the women he is. But he's not in the driver's seat with his own life, though. His life is out of control. But the conjugal visits? Oh, come on. They allow everything in that jail cell. They allow him to have a phone. They know what he's on YouTube. The guards there, I don't think they give a shit. I don't know. I could say something to that as to why they're allowing him to do that, but I won't. Because I don't know that to be 100% for sure. And because of the legalities of making such a statement, I won't. So therefore, I won't. But I have an idea. But he shouldn't have use of his cell phone in there, not to continue what he's doing. Sure, I'd want to have a cell phone too if in a situation like that. I could watch movies, you could order your food, call your lawyer, for things like that. But once you exceed your boundaries of what the use of the phone is, then that becomes really illegal. That's how it becomes really complicated for himself. He's making these complications that they're actually allowing him to go on social media and continue to defame and make allegations, insults, death threats, and he still has his phone. Well, I have an idea that that's going to be remedied soon enough. I'm not going to go talk about it, but I think that's going to be remedied soon enough. Maximus says he gives them tips. I don't know what he does. I'm out of that. I don't know what he does. A lot of people are on the take, in this world, When people really need money, they sometimes agree with things that maybe they shouldn't agree with, but who's to say? Who's to know? I don't know that for a fact. Whatever he does between him and the guards is his business, but I'm not saying it's legal what they're doing, if they're doing it, but that has come to my mind, but I can't prove it. So it's not worth talking about. But conjugal visits? It's a good question. How the Catholic rules the laws out here and how they see things even in prison. Generally, if you are married, you are allowed conjugal visits. And there's a good possibility that he's not having conjugal visits until he's married. And that might be another reason he wants to get married, besides using her as a tool to try to get a further stay in the Philippines rather than being deported. He's figured this all out. The guy's brainless, but when it comes to a little chicanery, he's very good at chicanery, He's worked the system for a long time and got away with it until he fucking met me. So what he does with the guards, I have no idea. That's to be determined. Continue the next episode, next series. Things that get all ironed up. Everything comes out in a wash. And it usually does. Just make sure you add a little detergent. It'll come out. Okay, guys. Sorry, but I must depart. I really am at the point where I see this individual as being totally hopeless. As you've been able to ascertain at this point, he's been doing things that you or I would never do. If you have half a brain that's actually working, you wouldn't do the things he's doing. Imagine on social media, after having 5 charges of cybercrime, which is criminal, not civil, by the way. I want to note that it's criminal. That he would just continue on his own accord to do show after show after show on his YouTube channel, nonstop, and do the same shit that got him into the situation that he's in. It makes no sense to me, but we're not dealing with somebody, obviously, with a lot of sense. It doesn't have any Viking, you're right. There's 23 watching, and I'm sure a lot of them are trolls. I'm sure he's listening. And maybe he'll try to absorb what I'm saying if he could find a sane moment to absorb what I'm saying and realize what he's doing. Look, I'm not trying to help him out by giving him that advice, believe me. But any sane man would not continue on the route that he's continuing in his particular situation. It makes no sense at all to a person like you and me, but to him, he's the cockiest motherfucker you'd ever meet in your life. He hasn't a clue what he's doing. He wants to destroy his own defense with his own lawyer, talking shit about his own lawyer, and I hope his lawyer was listening to that. Perhaps I should send him a recording. Then he really won't have a lawyer. I thought about it. Common sense is not too common, yeah. Not on YouTube anyway. But certainly with him. Come on, guys, put yourself in that situation. What would you do? Would you really go back on your phone? And I know it's a temptation. I do shows on here because it's a temptation to do shows. You can come to that conclusion. I'm just either getting off, period, and don't talk about it. Just get off. I make my own decisions. Now, it may not seem logical to some people that with all the crap going on in here, why are you still on? Well, it's my choice if I'm doing any shows. It's my choice if I totally decide to seize it and just be gone forever. But that's a choice I have to make. But in his situation, there are choices he needs to make, but it's a little bit too late. A little bit too late. It's all been proven at what he's been doing on his phone while he's been incarcerated. I don't force him to come on there and do shows. I don't put out a bulletin saying you've got to respond to something I said, or you need to take your route in this direction, and continue putting yourself in dire straits legally. He does it all on his own. No help from me. I just come on and put a show on. And he'll put a show on, but I may mention him in my shows. But I'm not coming on here inciting violence against a man. I despise the guy. That's been obviously put out, and you understand why. But I'm not inciting no violence against him. I've never done that. He even tries to claim that I had something to do with him getting hit over the head. And he mentioned a beer bottle. Oh, that came out. So the detail came out. If it was a beer bottle, it had to be somewhere near a bar. It wasn't a stick, he didn't say. It wasn't a rock. Okay? It wasn't some other object. He said it was a beer bottle, specifically. So it must have been bar related. But right away, he was putting the accusing finger on me that I paid somebody to hit him on the head. That's ridiculous. If I was going to take care of something with him, I'd do it personally. I'm not going to hire like the coward he is that would try to incite others. I hope there's somebody out there who put up a 50,000. Comes up with that figure too, 50K, right? Comes up with that figure, 50K to put harm on me. God, what a moron. Okay, finish the comments here. Maximus, I think he likes the detention center and does not want to leave. So he gets on his phone to get in more trouble. So he stays. You know, as I said, there might be something to that. Maybe he likes the accommodations because for years he's never really had good accommodations as far as, he'd run out on the rent on his landlords, causing a trail of destruction all along the way since he's ever been in the Philippines. All he's caused was a trail of destruction. And then I smirk when he makes these statements on his show. What money do I owe anybody? I don't owe anybody any money. Well, if we had to come up with a realistic list of all the people he owed money to, I guarantee you it would be quite a big list. He lies to his viewers, even the donators that donate money to him, he lies to them too. Why do they send him money periodically? It's not because they like him. They just figure, well, Frank's not going to like if he gets donations. Look, I don't care. He's never going to get a donation that's going to make enough donations that's going to make any difference in his legal situation. I just don't see that happening. Yeah. I just don't see that happening. He's over there pushing his channel. He's done this time after time again. Building up his channel should not be his concern at all. For the petty money, somebody sent him 50 pesos last night. Wow. Take a third of that away. 50 pesos. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that donation. It's like, oh my God, really? You need the money that bad? Well, the fact is he doesn't need the money that bad. He just doesn't. Okay, you want to hear what it is? Let me give you the facts before I sign off here. He's letting his Social Security money build up. So when he does get sent back to America, that he'll have enough money to maybe buy a used car, to find a temporary living situation. Maybe he'll find a van to live in. Great, accommodations for his future wife, live in a van, okay, or a cardboard box. He is making believe he's got no money coming in because he is saving. Now, picture how much he must have. He's been in there over 21 months. You guys do the math. Let's just say, round it off to six. You want to do the math? Say he's making $600 a month. He might be, maybe a little less, but let's just call it 600 even. Times 21 plus months. And what does that add up to? Now you got to keep in consideration that, he has to pay for his Grab food. And that's going to be like, I don't know, $12, $14 a day. And for incidentals, well, that his girlfriend will bring him, which maybe comes out of her own pocket. So she's eating into the profit of her own sorry store to help him out, putting her in dire straits. He's not a saver like me. He is a natural spender. Yeah, like the millionaire for a day thing with the Filipinos, which is very common. So he made 35 pesos. Yeah. And boy, he was like going crazy. Oh, thank you so much. But don't let the guy fool you. A lot of you people buy into his shit. I don't. trust me, when I do the math, 21, anybody got a calculator? You're just good at in your head doing it. I'm not good in my head just doing the math like that. But just figure 21 months at 600 a month. You just come up with an overall figure. Overall figure. How much is that? How many $1,000 is that? All right. So, but then, of course, that's not an accurate figure because he has to spend money out of his own pocket to buy Grab and all that stuff. That's going to considerably, over a period of time, bring that amount down quite a bit. Master of Puppets says, I bet he's not saving a penny. I don't think it's possible for his brain to think of tomorrow. You might be right. I don't know. He could have people on his payroll. Who knows? I don't know. The money's going out somewhere. And I know it's going out for his food expenses. But if you do the math, and nobody's done it so far, and I don't feel like doing it, 21 months times approximately 600 a month. And what does that come out with? And then, of course, again, we'd have to deduct. This is potential money. So my theory on this, and this is why his girlfriend don't even know it. Because if his girlfriend knew he was getting his money, she wouldn't go out and take money out of her own pocket to help him out on anything. She wouldn't. He's lied to her about being an overstayer when he was being harbored by her. He's lied about everything. He's supposed to love his girlfriend and wants to marry her, but he can't be honest with her. That's not a good beginning of a so-called marriage, but then again, we know it's a utilitarian relationship, and it's a utilitarian marriage. He doesn't have, Viking says doesn't have a pot to piss in. Country Road comes in. It's going into Shaw's pocket. He gives her a little money, and he pays all her travel expenses. I don't think for a second that Shaw pays for a thing. Shaw knows that Barry is collecting the disability. I don't think she does. That's where we disagree, Country Road. I don't think she knows that at all. The same as the thing where he admitted it, that the only people that know he's in jail is his girlfriend and the brother and a sister. The father, who had given supposedly a blessing to the couple to get married, doesn't even know. The mother doesn't even know. I think the other sister might have been another one that doesn't even know. He said it on his own channel, on his own show, not terribly long ago. That no, of his own words, says that only certain members of the family, very few of them, and the rest of them think that he had went back to America to work. Those are his words. All right. Comes down to $12,500. Because he lies. Because she's still helping him out. Whether it's something as small as buying him some Menon underarm deodorant, which I saw in her shopping cart once when she did a show, to some incidentals. He said one day on there she gave him 1,000 pesos. She's making those little carpets, those little 3-inch carpets to help him out. She even took on a part-time job. Not like every day. She said it. A part-time job. She's giving help to him. She's under the impression that the poor slob is not getting his SSD. If she knew the truth, she should demand any monetary help that she gave him. She should demand it back. Country Road says she probably doesn't even make $10,000 a month. She can't afford to do anything for Barry, but yes, she does. She's putting her own financial status in jeopardy to help him out. But on the other hand, On the other hand, maybe she does know. Because, no. He could be saying that I'm been able to do my grab food from donations. And that's where the money's coming from. You could look at it that way too. That she's gullible and naive enough to believe everything he says. And I do mean everything. To believe that I'm able to do that because, I get some donations. They're not always super chat, but I get them on the side. None of your business, woman. None of your business, woman. He probably would say that. It's none of your goddamn business. Don't worry about it. I get the money from, I get donations. Because if he told her that he was actually getting his Social Security disability this whole time, she would not be helping him out. And he doesn't want to spend any of that money. Remember, he lives by spending other people's money, is what he's done all his fucking life, okay? Do you understand the scenario right now? Do I need to elaborate much more than that? Is there a need? That you guys can't figure it out yourselves? Come on, man, get real. I figured this guy out years ago. You gotta be able to see, how do they say, to see the forest through the trees, brother. Well, yeah, maybe she goes to the ATM fin. Maybe she does know. I mean, look, I can't say for sure, but it sure sounds to me that he has not told the truth about anything. And that's his character. Would that surprise you? I mean, really, would that actually surprise you that he ain't telling the truth to her about a whole lot of shit? About a whole lot of stuff? Why would that surprise anybody? Don't surprise my ass. I've been listening to this shit for years. I know what happened on the outside world in the Philippines with him. I know of many people who got fucked over by him. The list is quite a large list. Nothing would surprise me what he does. There is absolutely nothing that would surprise me what he does. Nothing. And I do mean nothing. Nothing. Nada. He's a con man. He's been a con man all his fucking life. And I will not retract that statement at all. Not at all. Sue me. That's how he's been getting by all these years. The only talent he has is knowing how to flip waffles. And that's the thing, is you don't flip waffles, but he flips waffles. Maybe it's an exposed type of restaurant. Like Benihana, where the guy cooks his steaks up and cuts them and flips them. And maybe he does this wonderful thing in front of the customers and he shows that you can actually flip waffles like pancakes. Maybe he has that unique talent of flipping fucking waffles. I'd pay to see that. I actually think Shaw sticks around for the 2.4K a month in kickbacks, or 2 to 4,000 a month in kickbacks she gets from shopping for a bummer. Well, could be. 7. Did you see his last live where he sent himself 50? Yeah. And he keeps on saying that guilty as sin is not him. If you guys don't have any brains, then you'll believe that guilty as sin is not him. It's his sock account, and he has 2 different devices. He could be talking to you on one device, and he'd be going under his account under guilty as sin on the other, and he's saying things that are very supportive of himself. It's like he's talking to himself. Total fucking insanity. Total insanity. And he sent it from his guilty as sin account. He acted like somebody donated to him. It was crazy. Well, crazy is, crazy does. Stefan says, and he sent 2 messages and read it like it wasn't him. He sent himself messages on his own live. Yeah, saw it, read it. Been there, done that. Told you, the guy is just certifiable, man. Totally certifiable on every fucking level of that. I get just look, guys. I get just as amazed as you guys get. No different. I'm amazed at hell that this guy could even function at all in life. Yeah, he's all over the place. And his biggest concern, outside of his legal matters, or actually considering the fact of his legal matters, is to try to get more subscribers for his show. I mean, really? That's his concern? He's got bigger fish to fry than that. But no sympathy for the devil, man. Not from me. Not from me. He's going to get no sympathy from me. Like I said, I'm taking this as far as I could take it, man. There's an end of the road for everything. Whether it's life, whatever it might be. There's an end of the road for everything. And this is not going to end very well for him. And rightfully so. Couldn't say it better than that. And quite frankly, even talking about this is ridiculous because he wants me to talk about him. He wants the attention. Well, he got the attention from everybody. And it's not necessarily good attention. That's why they think he was nicknamed Digger. The only man I ever encountered that actually takes a shovel and digs his own grave. You might see that on a science fiction or some kind of horror show, but he actually does that. This is a man who actually does that. You want to go inside? Go ahead. I don't tell him to do these stupid things. But I must admit, there is an entertainment value to this. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't an entertainment value from it. Viking says if it wasn't for you, he'd be still out there on the loose. As I've been trying to tell my people, I don't get enough appreciation for what I've done. People would rather go against me just for the drama. They know I'm right on all this. They know it. Some of my biggest adversaries out there, they know I'm right on what I'm doing. They know if they were in my shoes, they would do the same thing. Or they might do something a little more adventurous than what I'm doing, if you get my drift. Something I've never done, and that's something I never will do. I'm smart enough for that. I know what he deserves. Believe me, I know what he deserves. But I can't deliver. I can't deliver, and I won't deliver on that. Unless he approached me somehow, I would take every opportunity to finish that out. Keeps on talking about TGIF all the time. If in this, if in that my girlfriend got in the way or something or something. I had just gotten back from Hawaii, number one. Separated from my girlfriend for over a year by no choice of my own. I wasn't back very long. So here we are in TGIF. Ricky set this whole thing up, of course. Because I seen him talking on the phone. Oh, okay then. You know, but it was Barry calling him to tell him he was on his way in. And he came in with that guy, Brian. That was his backup. The bummer was not going to do anything to me. Or he would have tried, but figuring that Brian would intervene on this. That's what happened. Oh yeah, he set me up. No, I didn't take the bait, did I? Country Road says, actually, Frank, they wouldn't do a thing. They're all talk. 8 years of talking trash with zero action. I'll tell you somebody who's actually pissed off right now, too. And that's Nika. She's tired of this shit. She has some real pressing situation going on here. She didn't want to get involved with it. And he says that, oh, he's talked to her in the past. He's even talked to my daughter. You're so fucking full of shit, you piece of crap. Nika's never talked to him. She's never talked to him. Oh, yeah, and he talks to my daughter regularly. My daughter, despite the lack of communication we have, I know her good enough to know that she's not interested in his bullshit. I'm still her father, and on a deep level, she knows that. And she would never go against me in that way. And how would he get her number? How? How would he get her email address? How would he get any communication? It's impossible. So, yet another classic fucking lie. Oh, yeah, he does this, he's done that, he knows this person, he knows that one, he talks to this person, he talks to the embassy, he talks to the consulate. Oh, he does all that shit, all from his cell. And even the thing about the marriage, hold on a minute, guys. There you go. Had to use the facility, as you possibly heard. Flushed his shit down the drain. His shit. Now, the thing about the marriage, which is still questionable to me, because, and I'll tell you why. Because he would actually have to be able to leave his cell to sign certain papers. He would also have to attend a marriage seminar. And he can't just leave his cell to do that. There are several things that requires his physical presence and his signature in order to do this. Now, did he find a way to oversee this? I don't know. Is it possible? Anything is possible, but I don't think it's even feasible. So whether or not he's able to get married or not, I mean, he's still going to question this. Because yes, you do have to physically leave the detention center. And whether they were going to give him permission to do so, that's a whole nother story. Is this just another scam of his to make people believe that he's going to get married, then the day comes and say, I just want to get a reaction from Frank? That's quite possible. That's quite possible. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I would be blacklisted if I was convicted after a brawl. Unlike him, I have usable brain matter, and that could have turned out to be pretty disastrous for him. He underestimates me because of my age. I had no liquor glass in my hand and I didn't have a knife in my pocket. That's what differentiates me from him. I don't carry around a weapon because I'm too scared, which he admitted in the past he always did, saying, I can't do shit like that. I can't get into no physical confrontation with nobody because I have to use a weapon. That's the only way I could do it. His own mouth. Although some forget, or maybe he forgot he said that. He did indeed have a knife, just like when he went in that bar and he intimidated that waitress. I don't know, what did he offer? A few thousand pesos to shut her mouth? You all saw it. It's like nothing we're not familiar with. What happened? It was even mentioned in national newspapers. Master of Puppets says he's a tough guy until confronted. We have all seen him run like a chicken from Ned and Fisher. Yeah, exactly. Country Road says, unlike him, you have a lot to lose, too. He's really not worth it. Country Road says, living off less than $600 a month with zero assets or a home is a punishment in itself. Yeah, can't agree with you more. Okay, well, I just thought I'd mention a few things to say. Let me do what I have to do today. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate the dialogue on here. I think we're all on the same page here. And I think he pretty much has set up his own future. And I have no problem with that. I just want to see, and he talks about the money. This case was not about money. But since he has continued in the direction he has of constantly, uh, doing the same thing he did that got him into trouble, and he doesn't let up and will not let up, that yes, there's no reason why I can't try to recoup some of my legal expenses, as well as you would like to do if you had a court case and you spent a lot of money on it. Money that could have been used for vacations, it could have been used for the kids' education, or whatever I had to use for that. And he'll say, well, I didn't tell you to put a case on me. That's your problem. That's your problem, how much you paid out your lawyer. That's your problem, not mine. Let's examine that statement. If he didn't do that shit, I wouldn't have to get a lawyer. I would not have to pay all this money out to a lawyer. It's according to which side of the fence you're looking over. Now, the judge, of course, has to agree with that. The judge is the one that says, yes, I will award you X amount of pesos for not only legal expenses. He forgets that there's other things too, possibly, the judge can do. Not just award legal expenses, to award other damages beyond such. Some people call it pain and suffering. There's different names you could call it. Damage. In other words, it's called, okay. I'm trying to think of the words. I'll just say there's further damages. Does your lawyer believe you can recoup legal expenses? No, my lawyer just believes that you could put in for that, and it's up to the judge to decide that. And the judge may do it on his own anyway. But yeah, why shouldn't I? I didn't ask him to come online and religiously, for years, call me what he did. There's a lot of damage to that. Why shouldn't I collect? Why shouldn't I recoup some of my legal expenses? Why? Only a fool would not want to get reimbursed for his legal expenses. Dispense with the bullshit, Barry, about, well, I didn't tell you to put a case on me. That's irrelevant. You caused me putting a case on you for your consistency and persistence to continue to make shows defaming me and slandering me with libelous statements for years, which warranted me to put a case on him. Otherwise, that may have never happened. He did it all on his own. Sure, why shouldn't I collect? That was not the whole idea of the case. It had nothing to do with money. Zero. I wasn't expecting a dime. But since he continued to do the same shit over and over again, I thought and said, if I'm able to collect, it's not like I'm actually going to receive any money from him because he doesn't have it. And he laughs about that. You ain't getting nothing from me. I ain't got no money to give you, and I'm not going to give you shit. I'll give you 25,000 pesos. You can end the case, I'll go home. Yeah, right. In your wildest fucking dreams. Ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to happen, son. Why the hell should I not be able to? But understand, what he doesn't understand, at the end of this trial, if the judge says, you're going to have to pay Mr. B back for damages and for legal expenses, although he does not have the money, although he does in his bank account, he has something, but if he doesn't pay, let's say that he's in prison or still incarcerated, he will remain in that situation until he can pay these expenses. This is what he doesn't understand, because he's not capable of understanding even the simplest of things, the simplest of demands, commands, the simplest of the legalities, or just common sense, period. He doesn't have the ability to put together a sentence, nevertheless understand the complicities of a case like this. What he doesn't understand is that, sure, he doesn't want to pay me a peso. Okay, fine. But until he does, and this, if the judge does order such, and he could, and he might, it simply means that wherever he is, he's going to stay at. So he was convicted and has to do X amount of years, whatever it might be. Even 6 months, whatever. If he was lucky enough to just get 6 months, he would still remain where he is until he could come up with the judgment money. He'll remain where he is, not going anywhere. Country says no one gives a crap about what Barry thinks or his legal opinions. Nobody does. What's this here about 200? I got to scroll on this thing. Why is it? Okay. Oh, 200,000 pesos. You're out of your mind. It's a hell of a lot more than that. 200,000, man. Try more like 600,000. 200,000. I wish. He doesn't pay. If he doesn't pay, he rots in jail. Simple, Country Road said. Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to pay me a peso. The beauty of it, if he doesn't pay, or find somebody willing to help him out to come up with that money, and I think people out there are only willing to help him out to a certain degree. Even those that have a lot of money, they're still rather reluctant to help him out to that degree. It's like I win either way. I don't get the money from him, but he gets to pay by remaining incarcerated somewhere. Billy Dad or Picketon or whatever it might be. There's beauty. It's an art. It's an art. He could run off his mouth and say, I'm going to pay you shit, motherfucker. Then he'll say, suck my dick again. And he was getting into that again. You remember I was mentioning about, he has this thing about dicks, about dick sucking, and he always wants me to suck his dick. For legal purposes, I'm not going to say anything about that. What I'd like to say, but you could use your own imagination about that. Why does he want another male to suck his dick? I'll leave it to your imagination and your opinion. Viking says no one is going to pay any of his bills. Probably right. Country Road says you're entitled to a minimum of $1 million for legal fees. Stress caused to you and Gilda plus your time. Yes. I don't know what the figures are, but you're basically right on the concept of what you're saying, you know. Oh, well, time will tell, won't it? You know, but I'm going to have to get off this thing here. You know, when you're working against yourself, I mean, how do you expect positive results? You know, if you don't clean your house, right, eventually it's going to get really filthy, right? In other words, clean up your own backyard before you tell me to clean up mine, son. You got a lot of cleaning to do. If you don't leave filth alone, it gets filthier. If you don't obey the laws of this country, whether you like them or not, you're going to have to pay the price of what you do. There's a lot of opinion out there. Well, Frank, you know, you've said a few things on YouTube yourself. Yeah, I have. I most certainly have. But there is no comparison. And I wasn't consistent and persistent. I had a moment of anger, said a couple of things. That was it. I didn't continue to do it. I didn't make daily shows. I may mention people on my shows, and I've done that before, and the stupid things they've done, and I made comments about it. There was a few times that out of aggravation, just pure aggravation, I did say a few things. But guess what? And if you guys are so astute as to what's been going on and so knowledgeable and following me, you'll know that on 2 occasions, maybe even 3, and I didn't even need to do but one, if I had said anything about any individual on YouTube, I apologize for it. You remember my speech about not wanting to get caught up in his vortex, of which I did? You remember that? I was man enough to say, you know what? That what I said was wrong and it was out of anger. The difference between me and him, this answers your question. Am I totally innocent on YouTube, first of all? No, nobody's innocent on here. But I've not done anything like he did. Persistent. And with the gravity of what he said on a constant basis through the years. I apologized to people and I said, I'm only going to do this once. But I did it more than once, just to fortify that statement. That's one thing you can't say about me. I will recognize a wrong if there's a wrong. I will not even try to justify anything that I said, except to say it was out of anger. I'm human. But however, I'm man enough to admit that I am just human. And maybe I had a breaking point at some point where I just exhibited some anger and said a few things to several people that I regretted saying, and I apologize for it. That is the difference between me, and it was a lot of differences between me and him, but that's the difference between me and him. I will recognize a wrong. I will recognize a wrong. I'll try to correct it. That's the difference. Okay, just the last few questions. Master Puppet says, "You're not the one on trial, Frank. Barry is. That's why that's the only thing the judge cares about." Yes, I know. Viking Sun says, "You're good. They got nothing on you. You were always first to make an apology video." See, okay, you recognize that. Thank you. Viking Sun says, "I remember the apology video you made for Dimples." Yeah, come clean. Come clean. And if you got aggravated, admit that you got aggravated. But the difference is between being aggravated in an event and saying some things that maybe you shouldn't have said, but you did it out of anger, but you admit to doing so. But in his case, it's constant. It doesn't stop. That's the difference. That's the big difference. It's daily. It's every time he puts on a show. You got to know when to stop. Okay? He made his point, he don't like me, and I made my point, I don't like him. That's obvious. But to do what he's been continuing to do and is not righteous. Then again, what's righteous on YouTube anyway? There's nothing righteous on YouTube. Of course, leave out the good vloggers on here because there are a lot of good vloggers out here that actually put on shows that you can listen to. There's no negativity on their shows. They're talking about a subject on the Philippines or otherwise, and they come up with some really good topic matter, although it's been replayed over and over again and just kind of mixed and mashed in with the same shit they put on in the past, but they put their little magic touch on there, which is okay, and they show a different side of their opinion. Those are the shows I like to listen to. Not people who are devoting their shows strictly and entirely for revenge or to display hate and disdain. That's not what I do on my show. And if you've been listening to me for a long time, you know I'm not bullshitting. I've had my moments. I actually have. I've had my moments. I'm a little smarter now, but I got caught up in the vortex. And I'm the one that came up with that saying about the vortex. I coined that word on YouTube. I did. It's easy to get caught up in the vortex. It's easy for people to get involved, bystanders that don't know what's going on, and somebody makes a statement that this guy did this, this guy did that. They don't know any different. Oh, really? Did he really do that and say that? What a mean man he is. That's how it starts. It's a vicious cycle for folks. And people like Barry have instituted this. It's what he did to try to make it to his advantage, but it didn't work. Look at his situation now. It's dire. He's in dire straits. Yeah, if the trial continues, yeah, everybody has their right to testify. And remember, it has to be broken down by my lawyer, too. My lawyer will have to question him, too, on the stand. And he could even introduce further evidence. Yeah, he has a right to testify. But I'm kind of wondering where this is going, to be honest with you, because he already pleaded guilty. So why would he have to testify? And I might not have to testify. I don't know. It's whatever happens at the next court hearing. He's going to say, maybe the guy already pleaded guilty. I'm ready to put judgment on him. I really don't want that to happen because I want to testify. I want to testify because I got a lot more to present. I don't want the judge to go easy on him. That's my concern. I don't want the judge to go easy on him. I want the judge to understand the gravity of the situation. It's not your average cyber libel case. This goes well beyond what was originally submitted on the affidavit to the fiscal. It goes way beyond that. So many more elements in there that the judge needs to be aware of, and that's what we're going to try to do. When his lips are moving, that's all I could tell you on that statement, Country Road. Do I believe he has no lawyer? I believe he has a lawyer, but I believe the relationship is strained. He said he didn't have a lawyer last time, but his lawyer appeared on camera. Remember, if his lips are moving, you know the rest of the sentence on that. And I'm going to end my show so I could do a few things today get accomplished. Thank you very much. I do appreciate my audience. And by the way, I think I've gained a lot of legitimate subscribers, but I don't think they're all legitimate. He's gained some subscribers, and I question that a few. But I'm honest enough to tell you right here and now that I don't think I have over 2,000 subscribers on here. I don't buy it. That's how honest I am. I could say that I earned all these subscribers, but I'm not going to say that. That's the difference between me and him. I'm giving you honesty. I don't think I have over 2,000 something subscribers. I think somebody bought a few. And why would I say that if I wasn't an honest person? Did I buy these subscribers myself? No, I would never put out my own money to buy subscribers because it wouldn't make any sense, because I don't care if I'm monetized or not. I'm not looking to be monetized. And if I was monetized, and I could accept monetization if I want, just got to have the watch viewers now, whatever. I could accept that, but I also know that I'm not going to get many donations. No offense to my viewers, but you haven't really come really in support of my channel to really donate to me. Only a few people have. I could get monetized. If I stay on, I can let the subs grow and get the watch hours in and get monetized. But then again, I think to myself, what's the purpose? I was monetized before, as you well know. I didn't make that much money. At best, I was making maybe a couple times, making $200 a month. Better than a kick in the ass, but, and let's face it, it's all about anybody anyway. It's all money and greed. The difference with me is I'm not dependent. I don't knock monetization. I just not a person who's going to be dependent on monetization. If I get the opportunity to monetize and I decide to stay on, I'll probably maybe monetize. Everybody and their grandmother's doing it. Why can't I step on the platform? I've said that statement before. Why not step on a platform? Why not? That extra money could be used for the kids, for their education. Could be used for anything. The dog's veterinary bills. It could be used a lot of uses. That doesn't have to come out of my own account. Sure, why not? But you guys are not going to donate. You never do. So there you go. You get a good crew here daily. All right, later, country. Hit the like button, country said. Viking Sun says, Social Blade is showing someone purchased 2,000 subs in the last 4 days. I saw a notice. Like I said, how honest can I be? If I was dishonest, I would say, no way, man, I've earned all those subs. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't earn all those subs, and I certainly didn't buy them. No purpose. Because I don't give a shit either way if I'm monetized or not. That's the kind of honesty and the kind of channel you want to listen to. Somebody who's honest even to say that. I didn't have to say that. I didn't have to bring that up. I brought it up. I brought it up. And I'm the one that said that I don't know how I have over 2,000 subscribers. That's not a reality. So if you want honesty, there's some honesty for you. Who are you going to believe, me or him at this point? There you go. Just prove that. Okay, guys. Thanks. Later. More to come, I'm sure. Oh, what's this? They want you to lose your channel by buying subs for you. Well, they did that before, and I never lost the channel because of that. Look, as I said, man, my survival is truly not based on monetization from my channel. It never was. We always got by no matter what and what I make. I did not survive and depend like he does and some other people on getting everything from Super. There's so many fucking things. You got Gcash, PayPal, stickers, thank yous, the list goes on. Maya, PayPal, all this shit. So many avenues to make money on here. Why haven't I done that when I had all that? Why didn't I throw PayPal on it even when I was monetized? That's easy enough to do. I never even did that because I didn't really care. If somebody sent me a super chat, fine. It was instantaneous. I got it. Not worthwhile because they take over 30% out of that. So I mean, I could have done all that. If I couldn't figure out how to do it, I got people here that could figure it out how I could get set up for that, but I didn't do that. The only thing I did recently was which I don't even put on there anymore. I put a Gcash number on there. That's all I did. I haven't even been putting it in my description anymore. I don't even use it. I want you to make sure you got a backup channel. You know what, dude? If my channel got taken down for any form or reason, I would almost welcome it this time. And I wouldn't try to put something on. I don't think I would. It might be for the good. I'm not worried about having a backup channel. I'm not into it as much as these people are, contrary to your beliefs. I don't depend on this. Boy, 2 hours and 32. I read again. We're doing this shit again. I don't need a backup channel, man. It's best that I don't. It's really for the best. All the way around, it's for the best. I thank you for the dialogue today. We got to stop meeting like this, folks. Grab that shovel, Barry. It's just that you're going to have to dig deeper and deeper, my man. You're the biggest fool that's ever beyond Peter Van Dever. But actually, there's a difference. Actually, Peter Van Dever, he was actually an intelligent man. He was. Peter Van Dever was an intelligent man. He was a screwball, but he was intelligent. There was no match between the two in the measure of intelligence. Peter Van Dever, what you ever thought about him, he was a very intelligent man. Still is. And it looks like he got his life together one way or the other. He's a very intelligent man. There is no comparison at all with the two. Okay. See ya. Don't want to be ya, as Peter says. Bye-bye for now. This is Frank signing off.